that I needed to get to right away. Staff, right? Players, roster construction, and then NIL, money, donors, all that. What makes everything go. So we're gonna start with staff. First, I want to thank, and I've already spent enough time on Coach Hamilton, but no time would be enough. His partnership in this has been incredible. He's meant so much to me in so many different ways, both through my playing career here, post-playing career as a professional athlete, starting my career as a coach. His help, guidance, mentorship on and off the court has been immeasurable, and I wouldn't be standing here without him. So you guys know that, you know our relationship. He's been in the last 10 days. He's done more for me than I ever expected. I told the guys upstairs before I came down. He calls me, and you never know what direction the call is going to go, right? But he calls me and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" What's him? Are you here? Come on up. He's like, "No, I just need your wife's phone number." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Stevie's phone number. Send me Stevie's phone number." I was like, "All right, I'll send it to you. Why? What do you need?" He's like, "I just want to connect my wife with your wife to let her know what's coming and give her a foundation of what it means to be a coach's wife. And not just a coach's wife, a head coach's wife, and especially at Florida State." And I think that's like, again, it speaks to who Coach Hamilton is as a man and a friend and a mentor of mine, that he would think about those little details. As I have the whole world coming at me, he's thinking about my wife's feelings. And so thanking him, obviously thanking the former staff, right? Starting with Stan Jones. I mentioned him in the press conference. Maybe one of the most brilliant minds in basketball. And just from a basketball philosophy, X and O's, how good he is on the clipboard, he has been so special on the court and for so long for Coach Hamilton, and he never asked for any praise, right? And he's been ranked as one of the top assistants in NCAA's. The reality is Coach Hamilton and Coach Jones' partnership has been incredible, and it's a true partnership. He's as loyal as they come. When Coach Hamilton wins those Coaches of the Year awards, some of those should go to Coach Jones as well and his staff. And as a head coach, you know how important your assistants are, and that's what Coach Jones has been for Coach Hamilton. So not only that, additionally, similar to Coach Hamilton, he has meant so much off the court for me in terms of guiding my career, helping me, giving me advice. So a very special thank you to Coach Stan Jones. From there, Kevin Nickelberry, Jake Moore, I didn't have a super strong relationship with those guys, just the dynamics. I wasn't around as much, but it seems to me that a lot of the players speak highly of them. It seems to me that they had great attitudes, they're good coaches, and I'm sure they're gonna have great careers moving forward. AJ Register, he was one of our assistant coaches that was in charge of video. Another great young coach that has a lot of connections that, again, I'm going to try to help in any way I can. He's going to have a bright career ahead of him. Coach Mike Bradley, who was also my strength coach. I think he was here for 23 or 24 years. Another brilliant mind in that performance, strength, and conditioning spot. So you see the common thread. Even Karen Dang, Coach Hamilton's chief of staff, a bright future ahead for her. But you see the common theme of, like, there's a lot of good people here, and that's why they had the level of success that Coach Hamilton's had. And honestly, I appreciate their hard work. I appreciate the people they are, because it gives me the foundation to build upon. With that being said, I've started my staff in the last 10 days. I've officially hired 2 assistant coaches that we can talk about here in a second. I've unofficially, the paperwork hasn't gone through on 2 more. I'm in very close negotiations with my associate head coach. I can't comment on those because of their, number one, they're not officially hired, and number 2, their situations are still currently coaching, and those dynamics are always, as you know, a few of those played out this year around the country. Those dynamics are always a little tricky. When they're still coaching, you say you're hiring someone, now they got to go and walk in the locker room and coach guys, and everyone knows they're leaving, right? I never want to create that mess. The 2 guys that are officially on, we can touch on real quickly. Starting with Michael Fly, he was my first call. He was my first hire. So Michael Fly and I came into Florida State at the exact same time. He was a young 25-year-old coming from the Charlotte Bobcats organization. He was an assistant coach for Coach Hamilton, ran the film room, he had so much energy and so much juice. from day one as a player, I connected with him. He used to work me out. We would talk about hoops all the time. I always respected not only his work ethic, but the way he treated people, his level of preparation. There was no job too small. And when I told Coach Hamilton I was thinking about hiring him, Coach Hamilton was ecstatic, right? He means the world. He's helped Andy Enfield lead that Florida Gulf Coast program to the Sweet 16, which is incredible for Florida Gulf Coast. Stayed on there when Andy went to USC, went all the way up to the head coach, had a pretty successful run up into COVID. From there, he went with Dennis Gates, helped him start that program at Missouri. So you see this common thread of a lot of people that are intertwined in my life. And I think the world of Michael Fly. The last season or two, he's been with Jordan Mincy at University of Jacksonville as the associate head coach. And again, the success that Jacksonville has had has been impressive. And Michael's going to do a lot of different things for me. He has been relentlessly recruiting to the point where people are calling me saying, "Hey, you offered this guy," and I'm thinking, like, did we? and Michael's like, "Yeah, we did. We watched film on him. You approved it. I already called him. I called his parents. I called his coach. I called his and it's been he's I think I have a lot of juice. He's wearing me out." But most importantly, all my coaches are going to be able to coach. They're going to be able to teach. They're going to be able to build relationships, and they're going to be able to recruit. I don't believe in, hey, you hire this recruiter and that's all he does, and you have this coach and this is all he does. I believe in, and Sam Presti said this a long time ago when he was building the Oklahoma City Thunder. You bring good people together and you give them roles and responsibilities, and special things happen. And that's what I'm trying to do here with my staff. So Michael's a great hire. I'm really excited about him. The next hire officially is a guy named Gerald Gillian. Gerald, I've known, I believe I was 13 or 14 when I first met G and his family, the Gillian family. They happened to run Breakdown, one of the biggest AAU teams in Florida, and that's where I played with their family. I played for his brother, Kenny, who's now the head coach at West Oaks Academy. Gerald, so I've known Gerald and his family almost my whole life. Same thing, a special, high character individual, also a former head coach at the NCAA level at Chicago State. I think he won more games, a very difficult place to win with their resources, won more games at Chicago State than I believe anyone in the last 30 years. And I could be wrong by a few years, but did a heck of a job there. Most recently, he was with Rod Strickland at LIU Brooklyn. And again, they've won more games and done more with less. And you'll see this trend. Former head coaches done more with less. Great people. And I'm super excited about Gerald, a connector, a relationship builder. And I told Gerald this, and he flew down. We had an interview. I told Gerald this in his interview. A lot of people, again, are going to look at you as like, oh, you're going to go get guys in Florida, which is part of the job. Like, I want to wrap a blanket around Florida in recruiting, both in the high school, and all these guys are connected in the portal, right? You play for a coach, connected in the portal, there's those relationships. You're not that for me. You're a coach for me. And I want him to coach. He's done a heck of a job building Rod Strickland's defense. They had an unbelievable defense up at Chicago State. It's something he's passionate about. It's something that I think he can help me in a lot of different areas on the floor. And then obviously, like I said, a high character individual who I'm excited about. Staff structure wise, there's a few things you guys should know. So there's going to be connections to Florida State, and I'm not saying it's going to be every one of them. There's going to be strong connections to Florida State or the Florida State tree. And then there's going to be a couple of NBA guys, all right. And why is that important to me? I'm whether it's right or wrong, I'm trying to create a pipeline to professional sports, all right. And it's where I'm coming from. I know what it takes to get there, both the draft workouts, the interviews, the style of play, right. So with that, you have to create an ecosystem. You have to create a structure that allows that. But most importantly for these kids, is I want them to feel every day, I know what it takes to help you stick at the NBA. Everyone can get someone in the NBA if you have enough talent. What does it take to get to the second, the third, the fourth contract where you go from making minimum NBA money, which minimum sounds like a small term, it's like 1.8 million, minimum NBA money to those 50, 100, $300 million contracts. I can't promise you that you're gonna get there, but what I can promise you is there's gonna be no one in the country that will help you the way I can help you, both in your development, both in your preparation. And that's gonna allow us to get kids that we probably normally wouldn't be able to access, right? You may be able to make a few hundred extra thousand somewhere else, you're not going to be able to make a few hundred extra million somewhere else. So that's my pitch, but it's all words if I don't create the system that will allow that to happen. And so I'm going to need a couple NBA guys, both player development and system guys that understand what I'm trying to create and help me carry that out every day. From there, and tell me if you guys have any questions in between, I'll stop, because I know I'm a lot of coffee. The team, I want to move on to the team. So naturally in this day and age, there's gonna be a lot of roster turnover, right? You saw it last year with Louisville. You're gonna see it again right now, right? There won't be many players from last year's team that will play for me. Now there's gonna be a few, and there's gonna be a few I actively recruit, but that's the nature of the business, right? It's gonna be a different system, and that's not saying any of those kids weren't talented, right? There's a lot of talent, and some will work in the style I'm playing, some will not. And I would never, ever pursue a kid. I shouldn't say never, ever. I will attempt to not pursue kids that won't fit, right? It's just not a good marriage, right? I want to help these kids prepare for the next level. In return, I hope they help me and buy into what I'm trying to create, super competitive, and help me win a lot of games, all right? So first day we got back from the AC tournament, I met with every single player on the roster for an extended period of time, and it was an open conversation. I get to know you, you get to know me, what I'm about, what my values are, what my vision is. But most importantly for them, it was an open forum. What do you like? What do you not like? Right? What are your goals? Who's your family? Where are you from? What motivates you? Right? These things are important when you try to build a championship level team, because every roster is a puzzle, and if the pieces don't fit, you have chaos and dysfunction. All right. So it's my job to figure out what puzzle pieces I can use as I try to create what I'm trying to create. Through that first day, obviously there's been continuing conversations with a lot of different guys. There will be a lot of guys that hit the portal, all right? And that shouldn't scare anyone. That's by design, both for these players and for myself. There's been a few that have already committed to return. I'm not gonna comment on who. You guys will see that in the coming days. But I'm excited. I'm excited both for these guys to get new opportunities elsewhere, and I'm excited for what we're trying to build, all right? The most important thing as we not only recruit, but as we prepare for the portal with these agents, with these coaches, I'm looking for a few things, all right? And this is gonna be consistent. I don't care if I change my style or not. This is just what matters to me, all right? I talked about it a little bit in the press conference. I need kids with a moral compass, all right? And everyone doesn't have to be perfect. Everyone doesn't have to be a saint, but you gotta know what's right and wrong, and you gotta choose right a little bit more, all right? I need people to respect each other, to look people in the eyes when they speak, all right? I need people to show up on time. I need people that wanna be good humans, right? And that's sometimes difficult to do depending on their circumstances, their upbringing, but the more of those guys you have, I don't want to say the easier your job is going to be, but the better the environment's going to be, because it's a group of individuals and young men that respect each other, all right? That's number one. Number two, I need a tenacity in the individual in terms of their competitive spirit. I've never been, not even on a championship level team, I've never been on a successful team where you don't compete. It's gotta be what you want. Like, you gotta walk in every day and want to be better than the guy next to you. There has to be a competitive spirit to what we're doing every single day, both individually and collectively as a team, all right? And so if I find out, I do a ton of intel on every guy I recruit. I got a lot of people out there helping me out, all right? If I find out the kid's lazy in any way, doesn't compete, in the biggest moments they fold, I just cut the next one. We're not doing it, right? And I think through that, if you have a group of competitive individuals that push each other, that's when you start reaching your potential as a team, right? There's something contagious about a competitive spirit. All right, so number one, good people. Number two, competitors. Number three, and most importantly, as I build this, and again, this is a marriage between our staff, our program, and the individual, the player. I need guys that want to maximize whatever talent they have. All right. And when I say I'm trying to create a pipeline to professional sports, we're not going to have 15 NBA players every year, right? But I want 15 individuals trying to make the NBA, or trying to make whatever their talent is. I knew I wasn't good enough to make the NBA, so I want to go to Europe, right? Australia, Japan. There's lots of great leagues where you can make a great living, and I want young men that have an absolute pursuit to be the best at whatever level they are. And my promise and my obligation, my privilege to them is I'm going to help you get there like no other coach in America will. All right, both with the structure, with the staff I'm bringing in, with the style of play. In return, what I expect, great attitude, competitive spirit, and we're going to win a lot of games, right? We're going to win a lot of games through that. But there's a marriage between an individual's goals and dreams and aspirations and what I'm trying to do as a team, right? And that marriage has to be a constant, just like a real marriage, it's got to be a constant level of work, a level of communication, and a level of this is what we're doing every day, and we're not going to change through thick, through thin, doesn't matter we win, we lose, you make mistakes or not. That's what we're looking for, all right? The last thing, and probably the most important thing, the thing I've been putting the most time into, and all those things take time, is the reality of NIL, right? NIL it runs, and I said in the press conference, this is our reality on the pro sports, like the contracts, the money. Everyone wants to get paid. Everyone wants to take care of their family, but the NIL, and you guys know this because you guys have lived it. You can't build a team without money, all right? And so 2 parts of that. Number one, our administration, some of boosters, Michael Alford, they've been incredible with their support, and I want to make that clear. Number 2, we need more, and that's where privately I've been having a lot of conversations with donors, with prior boosters, with current boosters, with guys that haven't given in 20 years. I'm on the phone 25 hours a day trying to connect, trying to build authentic relationships, because it's easy for anyone to walk up and say, hey, I need money, right? The fact is that transactional, it's not authentic. And if I'm on the other side of that, I'm saying, this guy's, I'm trying to build actual relationships. I want people to have equity in what we're building. Everyone wants a good team. Everyone wants to cheer for, if you're a Florida State fan, for basketball to do well. The reality is I want people to be a part of that. And I'm trying to build, again, that ecosystem of you don't just blindly give and we give nothing in return. We're trying to build a relationship with these people, starting with me, then to my staff, then to our players. We want the community, obviously, to support us because it's the only way I can build a team. But in return, obviously, we give you a good team, and that's base level 1. But then we have to have actual relationships. You have to be a human, right? There has to be a give and a take in what we're trying to build. So when I ask for money, I never ask for a dollar amount. I never even ask for money. I ask for a relationship. And if you guys want to support us in any way, I don't care if it's $5 or $1 million, and if you got $1 million, come on. But I don't care what level of support it is. And if it's just coming to the games, I'm okay with it. I'm never going to ask for a certain dollar amount, but the reality is for me to build a team, I need dollars, right? And so that's been my last 10 days, those 3 things of what I've been doing. And it's been incredible, the outpouring of support, both on a huge financial level and just like, hey, we just bought season tickets again. Hey, we're super excited to come to the games. Just going to the coffee shop and talking to everyone in there. And it's been exciting for me. I'm like, I didn't know there were this many basketball fans in Tallahassee. So I'm super pumped, I'm excited. Part of this, I guess you'd say ask, is we're gonna put a link or a QR code in all of these articles, hopefully, that will lead you to our coaches club and a way to give, all right? And if you financially you can't do it, don't do it, all right? But what I wanna create, is a partnership with the community of you feel like you have a part in building this team, right? And people can hide from it, run from it, not talk about it. The only way to build a good team, and today, the way it's laid out right now, is money, all right? And then obviously all the other stuff, once the guys get there, that system's gonna be in place to maximize the team we get. I have conversations right now with agents, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but I'm gonna say it. I mean, these guys are averaging like 5-6 points a game. He's like, yeah, we'll start at 500,000. I'm like, 500,000, your guy stinks. All right, so let me just lay it out. First of all, I need talent, right? And we got to be resourceful about what we evaluate and the guys we bring in. But the landscape in college basketball and college football is absolutely out of control. But it's exciting, right? It's an opportunity to do it the right way. All right. So I know I've said way too much. I'll open up for questions, but real quick, I'm gonna grab a drink because that was a lot of words.